Joining us now is... Drum roll!
It's your style now, isn't it?
Yes! OG Nika, OG Okpe, with stories trending around the world. Good morning, Jinx.
Remember Jinx, Rufai. She's great. Good morning. My daughter called her this weekend to tell her, I love Miss Tundu.
I got a special phone call to encourage me in my drum roll antics.
Even though some of us have been doing that all year round.
100%, of course. You know that, Rufai. You look great today. Good morning, Mr. Ifeni.
Yeah,
How
good
are
morning,
you?
Jinx. I'm cool.
Great.
I've negotiated the 100%. 100%.
Well, all right.
Cute.
100%. Okay. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, Republicans on Sunday stepped up calls for the release of an FBI affidavit showing the underlying justification for its seizure of documents at former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The search warrant was released last week after reports showed that Trump had 11 sets of classified documents at his home and that the Justice Department had probable cause to conduct the search based on possible Espionage Act violations. In Egypt, an electrical fire swept through a Coptic church during Mass on Sunday, causing a stampede and killing at least 41 people, most of them children, and many suffering from smoke inhalation in the city of Giza, where up to 1,000 people had gathered. Under sports, Tottenham boss Antonio Conte and Chelsea's head coach Thomas Tuchel clashed at Stamford Bridge on Sunday and were both sent off after Chelsea and Tottenham played a 2-2 draw. The afternoon was matched with tempers on the touchline, with a previous incident resulting in yellow cards for both managers.
It's finished.
Then, Nigeria Super Falcons striker Asisat Oshola made the 20-name shortlist for the 2022 Women's Ballon d'Or Award over the weekend. The 27-year-old, who was crowned the 2022 CAF Women's Player of the Year last month, is set to attend the ceremony, which will take place on October 17th at the Théâtre du Châtelet in Paris.
So far so good, let me see you. Let me see you.
Finally, on our entertainment, Afrobeat singer Kiss Daniel, who was arrested in Tanzania for not showing up at a paid concert on August 8th, performed over the weekend in the East African country and apologized to his fans to rousing applause.
On behalf of the team, Flyboy AC, the promoters, I want to apologize for the troubles we caused you guys this week.
The 28-year-old superstar, who gained global acclaim with his hit song, Booga, has had sold-out concerts across the African continent, Europe, and America, and as millions dance to the most Shazammed song in the world, owing to the Booga Challenge, a video of Catholic nuns in Nigeria dancing to the hit song has gone viral. Rufai, peep the best dancer that I just saw you do the Booga just now. It's such a viral song. Tundu Abiola, quickly over to you on this comment.
This is my favorite Booga.
Yes.
So we've seen lots of videos. I like the Nigerian relay team, but the nuns, I'm sorry, hands down. This is my favorite. Thank you for sharing.
I wanted to just brighten up this morning.
Okay, yes.
Who is your favorite? I know who it is. George Ware. Is it?
Yes.
I knew it. I knew everyone.
The presidential Booga.
The presidential Booga. I love it.
The Sierra Leone president's wife too has got some good Booga.
Yes.
Oh, she was so good. Okay, that was great. Thank you. There were so many good ones.
You know, after the public one, George Ware did one privately.
Yes. I thought that was epic, really.
Yes.
Well, all right. Let's begin what's trending. Nigeria's former president, Goodluck Jonathan, over the weekend advised Nigerians to be circumspect in exercising their voting rights in the 2023 elections. Jonathan gave the advice while delivering a keynote address stating that the 2023 election should be seen as a venue to elect the kind of leadership Nigeria deserves now and in the future to assume its rightful place among nations. He further urged Nigerians to look beyond 2023. The former president said in quote, "My charge to Nigerians is to be circumspect in the exercise of their voting rights. We must shift away from the politics of bread and butter and ensure that we do not elect leaders that will buy our conscience today and mortgage the future of our children and grandchildren." Well, let's take some reactions. Now, this is from Ginger, who wrote, "When Jonathan says shun bread and butter politicians, everyone knows whom he's referring to. When a cleric says, have your future in mind when you cast your votes, everyone knows whom they are referring to. Truth is, Nigerians know crooked candidates and the honest ones." Well, Chooks wrote, "Jonathan should come out and endorse whoever he thinks is the best. Let's know exactly where he stands. Nigerians should reject fence dwelling this time around. If you aren't gonna endorse a particular candidate, stop talking. We will no longer accept ambiguity." Well, I thought his advice was good, but you know, politicians always come under fire when they tend to give these types of advice. And, you know, obviously, the opposition will come out to say whatever they want. It is politics, as we know. Tundu Abiola.
Well, that tweet you just shared from the gentleman called Chooks about how you can't sit on the fence, you've got to choose one side, that might not necessarily be heeded by former President Goodluck Jonathan, because since he left his role as president of Nigeria, he's become more of like an elder statesman, so he might not want to weigh in on one side. But what that tweet, even the one before that you shared, spell out to me, and I'm so glad to see it, is that everybody understands what is at stake here.
Absolutely.
And it is beyond 2023, like former President JEJ said. The future of this country is riding on those elections, and we really are at the point of a precipice. So I'm glad everybody knows this. And I like the way he said bread and butter. It's so basic. You're not even selling it, your vote and your future for filet mignon. You're selling it for bread and butter. I mean, it's important to stress that you're going to be that cheap if you forget what is at stake. But the good thing about Nigerians is that we're all on the same page, as far as I'm concerned, where the elections are concerned. We all support different candidates all over the political spectrum, but we all know it's important. Even in cases of vote buying, which unfortunately, based on past incidents, even as recently as the Osun and Ekiti elections, even at that point, people have learned that they can accept the money and still vote for their conscience and still vote for their future. So any politician thinking people are still so cheap as to be satisfied with bread and butter should have a rude shock or two coming their way. Those days are over.
Well said, Tunju. Rufai.
You know, you made me like when you said they're not even selling for filet mignon.
I mean, really,
it's
bread and butter.
just bread and butter. It's not even they are so basic.
I know.
But that's a sad reality, and I'm happy former President Goodluck Jonathan has said this, because, Oji, what is out there is sad. Oji, I had a 3-hour engagement with somebody that ran, a young Nigerian, medical doctor in America that ran on the Osun elections as a governorship candidate of the YPP. And he was telling me how vote buying was done. Oji, I felt more scared for Nigeria. The fact that, and that's why even INEC needs to watch it, the fact that once you vote, you now have to take it to another place, then people will put their voters, the ballot paper, so you can see how political parties will give you a tally to come and collect your bribe in the back, how even elite, educated people will say that we know you're not going to do anything for us, let me just collect money for you in 4 years, and how they were paying between 3,000 to 15,000 naira. How cheap it was to buy votes. How every political party, even the small ones to pay. You see, the problem now in Nigeria is that politics is now so much for sale that when a political party say, I feel hard done by, it's because they don't have money to pay like the other party. Even the so-called small ones that are trying to want to revive, everybody's paying for vote buying. So the question is this survival of the highest bidder? How much are you paying? Where people were paying 3,000, the smaller parties, some were paying 7,000, some were paying 10, some were paying 15,000. So at the end of every election, every voter that stays on the line can have a possibility of collecting from 2-3 political parties. That's how bad things have become. And at the expense of what? Expense of future of Nigerians. Because you see, the millions of dollars they've spent in that election is what they ought to use to fix your road and fix healthcare.
Right.
And that's why when they get back to power, they will go recoup that money. And that's why you see it is difficult for politicians to deliver the dividends of democracy because they are paying debts. We have in this country people that got elected into positions that were owing debts of over 15 billion or 17 billion naira. Go to AMCON today, Tundu. You will see most of the properties held by AMCON are politicians that took bank loans to be able to service elections. And we can't have true democracy this way.
No.
And that's what President Goodluck Jonathan is saying. Don't sell your vote for bread and butter. Please say no to the money. I don't even believe in the idea of collecting and voting for another party. Because if you collect and vote, you are as complicit.
Right.
Say no.
You try telling impoverished people not to collect.
But let that woman in Anambra elections be a watchword for all of us.
Right.
That rejected 5,000 naira.
Right. Well, because of time, I will take another story before I come to you, Dr. Abati. A newspaper, Dr.
Abati's
Abati.
brother.
Dr. Abati's brother.
Who is also both Malabar. Thank you, Oji.
You are awesome.
Okpe.
You are awesome. We'll take another story. A newspaper report indicating that the Miyetti Allah Katohore, also known as Miyetti Allah, has instructed every Fulani person in the country not to vote for the presidential standard bearer of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has garnered several reactions on social media. Well, according to the newspaper, the group described Peter Obi as a tribal bigot who represents the Biafran interests, which in turn will not favor the Fulani nation in Nigeria. In the report, the National Secretary General of the Fulani Social Cultural Group, Saleh Al-Hassan, is alleged to have said that as far as the Miyetti ally was concerned, Obi was out of the options of persons to be voted for in the forthcoming general election. I thought this was such an inflammatory statement. I had to reach out to Mr. Al-Hassan, who actually just sent me a message saying that the journalist quoted him out of context. I want to actually read what he wrote. He said, "The journalist quoted me out of context. He asked me to analyze the strength of the presidential frontrunners for the 2023 elections, and he decided to make headlines of an aspect of my views on where Peter Obi draws his strength, which were taken out of context." Dr. Mr.
There you go again.
I'm trying my best.
Let me start with this Miyetti Allah statement. Well, this is what you get when you allow people to get away with all kinds of things.
Right.
Recall that this same secretary was the one who repudiated the law, the anti-open grazing law in Benue State, and was saying that they went public, saying that they are not going to obey the law, they will cause mayhem and all that. And it went on, and they got away with that. Now, he's reducing our election to ethnic issue, why Fulani will not vote for certain persons. I think this man should be called to order. Because if we go on like this guy will cause inflammation in this country that will not like. We've seen wars in the past, civil war, and what happened in other nations when people just go out and inflame passion. There's been so much talk about headers, how many weapons they carry, how they are in many forests all over the country, and he's making this kind of statement. If his Fulani brother decides to vote for Peter Obi, what will happen? Is in the mind of everybody? Because Peter Obi, for the records, has not described himself as an Igbo candidate.
No, he hasn't.
His major followers are young people who are all over the internet, irrespective of their tribe. So for this fellow to pigeonhole him into an ethnic chauvinism, that's what agenda is pursuing. What is the agenda of Peter Obi that has anything to do with hurting the Fulanis in the country? None. So this fellow has to be called to order. He cannot tell journalists what he said. He did not say no. He said, "Oh, they focused on what."
He said that it was quoted out of context. I think that he needs to release a fuller statement. That's what you
hear this all the time.
Yeah.
When the consequence of people's utterances come out, oh, that's not how I said it.
Yeah.
That's not what I said. It's a familiar refrain
Yeah.
when it comes to people. Once what they have said is reported and people, they now see the implication. So if he knows that was not what he said, he should retract it
Yes.
and apologize to Peter Obi.
Yes.
Because he's trying to taint a man in the color that he is, that is not part of his upbringing, it's not part of what he has done in the past, it's not part of his campaign,
Right.
and it's not part of his message.
Not only that, he could inflame passions between two tribes, the
Yeah.
Fulani tribe. How can you do that? Rufai, quickly, so that I can take
Please,
this one.
let's cool it down.
Yes.
Let
I
our
don't
campaigns be based on the issues.
Yes.
Let's not forget that it was after an election that the events that snowballed and led to the first Nigerians, the civil war in Nigeria happened.
Right.
Let's not forget that it was after an election that the American Civil War happened. Let's not forget what happened in Kenya after an election and the uprising a couple of years ago. Let's cool it down, focus on the issue, not ethnic sentiment and bigotry. Please, I beg you all.
I think we should hear more from the Miyetti Allah. We'll take, well, in another development, before I come to you, Tundu, Peter Obi over the weekend attended the ongoing convention at the Redeemed Christian Church of God in Ogun State for the first time and received a standing ovation in this video that has now gone viral. Let's take a look.
Welcome. And to represent the Ogun State Governor, his wife is here, Mrs. Abiodun. You are welcome, Ma, in Jesus' mighty name. And I would like to welcome to the redemption camp for the very first time, Mr. Peter Obi. Hallelujah. You're welcome to the redemption camp, sir. Amen. We welcome all our foreign delegates who have come to the redemption camp. It is Jesus we are celebrating.
This was so beautiful. The pastor, as a pastor, had to say that it is Jesus that we are here. And he had to remind the congregation. I mean, Peter Obi is a complete movement at this point. Tundu Abiola.
Yeah, he is. While you were reading your story, I got this message from somebody we all know here from the Abia League of Professionals. I don't think he'll want his name mentioned. He sent me this message, but it was first the Southeast that threatened any Igbo who doesn't vote for Peter Obi are called so-called saboteurs. Nigerians of every ethnic group must be careful of making inflammatory statements. That, for me, is the bottom line.
That is the bottom line.
And who is going to call the Miyetti Allah gentleman to order? In whose interest is it to do that? No, I'm not even thinking of Miyetti Allah. I think Peter Obi's campaign should not dismiss this. Peter Obi's campaign should make overtures and explain categorically that they are looking for a national presidency of unity. It should not be dismissed, because the mistake Hillary Clinton made during her campaign, dismissing Trump supporters as a basket of deplorables, by the time she tried to walk that back, she had alienated a lot of those people. Yes, they're nowhere near as educated as her and what have you, and they had all kinds of really very offensive conspiracy theories, but she lost a whole bunch of the people that she was hoping to reach. Peter Obi's campaign should make every effort to ensure that it's communicated quite clearly that he's seeking to be a president for all Nigerians.
Absolutely, well said. We shall take our final story. The grand finale of the annual Osun-Osogbo festival, which took place over the weekend, saw devotees of the Osun deity drinking from the contaminated Osun-Osogbo grove. In June 2022, an investigative report revealed how mining activities in Ilesha communities in Osun State have polluted the water body at the popular grove. Many users on social media have reacted with utter shock after a video showing the worshippers bathing and drinking. The contaminated water began circulating online. This was so shocking, Rufai. I mean, look at these people. It's not possible that they don't know that this is contaminated water. What is going on?
So I think they didn't give them the alert enough. They said
We're in
alert,
August.
Yeah, they said they didn't give them the alert enough. But also, Oji,
Yes.
what we should all talk against is the work of artisanal miners polluting our environment.
Yes.
We should stop that. You know, Because this Osun-Osogbo festival has been a cultural thing for so many years that people come, they make prayers, and they drink from the water. But all of a sudden, a couple of years now, since we've had artisanal miners doing this work, some albeit illegally sometimes, now they have polluted the water body. And people culturally that will normally go to the water, take it, drink, and make prayers, they can't do it any longer. But they should also be informed of the health hazards. I just pray for those that might have drank that water. I just hope we don't have an outbreak or anything. But that's the effect you're seeing of bastardizing and destroying the environment.
Right.
It's so sad.
It's the effect of what you just said, but it's also the effect of religion. Sometimes people think that because their motives are spiritual, the water will miraculously not harm them. And it's not just Osun worshippers. Think of every religion across the world.
Yeah.
You have their devotees doing all kinds of things that defy common sense, logic, what have you. And they do it because they have such faith in their spiritual principles. I hope that faith, is borne out somehow or another, because that looks very worrying.
That faith hopefully should heal them.
This is why Karl Marx described religion as the opium of the people.
Yes.
I mean, there's nobody among that body of worshippers of the Osun goddess or wherever who has information that this water is contaminated.
It's not possible.
And we should not have blind faith in deity, as it were.
They all do it.
Well, thank you all for your great analysis as always. That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.